Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching today. My name is Natalie Armstrong-Motin from Normandy, France, and I have the great pleasure of talking today to a colleague in Natick, Massachusetts. This is Ben Stich, everyone. Hello, Ben.
Hi, thanks for having me, Natalie.
Well, it's absolutely my pleasure. How are things in the greater Boston area today?
Great. Patriots won a tough game yesterday and, starting the work week.
Well, fantastic.
All is beautiful here.
Boston is a great place to be. I love Massachusetts. I love it. I love it. Well, Ben, tell me a little bit about the practice that you've built for yourself. I know that you come from a background in social work and that your practice is all about families, family businesses, families in divorce, families going through probate challenges. It's all family-based. Tell me a little bit about how you have created this practice for yourself.
Oh, how I created it. So circuitously, this was not my first career. I have, as you mentioned, I'm a non-attorney social mediator. And my background prior to getting into mediation was helping kids and teens and families in treatment programs, in high school. So I have experience in education, social work. And then about 10 years ago, a mediator friend of mine had been telling me for about a decade I should be a mediator. And I finally bit the bullet and took an introductory class, and he was right. I fell in love with it. And it was just super instinctive and very impactful, I thought. So I decided to leverage my experience understanding and working with families, typically in conflict, often mediating, but not realizing that's what I was doing. Decided to build a practice. I cut my teeth early on by bringing in co-mediators to co-mediate with me, so I could learn as much as I could, as quickly as I could, from collecting mentors in the mediation world. And, now the bulk of my work is divorce, although I do a lot of co-parenting disputes between, post-divorce parents or never married parents. And then a smattering of other types of family conflicts, adult siblings fighting about estate issues or end-of-life decision-making, some parent and older teenager disputes, some adult parent and adult child conflicts. I just slowly but surely built up my practice, and now I'm sustainable and has been for a long time. And I love it. I just love it. I do feel that one thing that sets me apart is my social work background. And certainly some people prefer to have attorney mediators, but a lot of people prefer not to have attorney mediators. And I just have a high degree of comfort with high conflict and helping people find common ground. And particularly when I'm mediating with parents, really trying to help them stay grounded in it being a child-centered negotiation.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I can see, it's really not difficult for anyone to see how valuable your background in social work would be in a mediation room. And the fact that attorneys are welcome, though not always involved, is, I think, a great value to your clients. Having you in the room, it both, I'm sure, leads to a more cathartic process for them. But it also saves so much time, so much money, so much continuing stress and heartache and anxiety and sleepless nights and consumption of antacids. And I know that when I did a little social proofing about you and your practice, your clients absolutely love working with you.
Oh, I appreciate that. The litigation is so acrimonious, and what I find is that everyone has a legitimate perspective from their worldview and from their lens. Even if it's distorted, it makes sense to them. As a mediator, if I can understand that, number one, it helps the party feel understood, and which then helps them feel calmer. But if I can do a really effective job as a mediator and function, one of my very first mediations, he kept calling me the translator. right? Like, husband and wife were on totally different planets around their communication, Mars versus Venus. And he kept saying, you are like, we've never actually understood each other until now that we're getting divorced. You know, um, the ship has sailed. I have done some marital mediations, but on that particular one, that wasn't going to happen. But if I can help people understand where the other's coming from, even if they fiercely disagree with that perspective, it just opens up the possibility of finding, shared interests or at least some options that they can work through, that they both can live with, so that they can kind of craft a better future for themselves. And, it is divorce is one of the most stressful things that anyone will ever go through. And, very rarely are people at the same place emotionally at the same time, unless it's a very long-term. I did last year mediate a 20-year separation. So they were pretty calm and they were good. They both had created a new normal for themselves. But typically that's not the case. So being able to navigate those high emotions while still staying grounded in the legal standards, and helping them figure out their financial division and striking that balance. And whether or not I'm an attorney mediator or not, I think any good family law mediator is going to advise their clients to have legal counsel, or should. So either way, they should be getting some helpful legal guidance to ensure that they're making informed decisions.
Right. But I know that because we've talked before, you and I, that some of the kinds of cases you hear, like you mentioned, are maybe adult children who have inherited a family business, and they don't really need a legal mind to help them through that. What they need is someone to help them negotiate what their future is going to look like, and you're the perfect person to help them do that, and help them design an appropriate but durable solution to those things that are causing them stress or anxiety, or creating a fracture of some sort in their relationship. So it isn't always about a legal issue.
No, it's not. One of my cases I often think about was 4 siblings, and the dispute on the superficial level was related to, family vacation homes and the fact that they all shared it. But it really was about communication and the first cousins and conflict that had existed. And, some of it went back decades, and just having a structured place to be able to talk about those things in a way to try, with their eye on the future and how to work together to, prevent these ongoing disputes from continuing to occur, was really important. And there were they were not going to write up any legal documents. This was just about how are they going to work together, how are they going to coexist, particularly after their parents are gone, without destroying the legacy that their parents had tried to create for themselves.
Right, exactly. And I love that aspect of your practice. It's so future oriented. It's all a positive benefit, and it's future oriented. And you help people deal with what has been said or done or not said or not done in their past, but it's all so that we can move forward. Right. So that we can healthfully, intelligently, sensitively move ourselves out of the issue that we find ourselves bogged down in, and move it forward. And I love that aspect of your practice.
I appreciate it. One of my favorite types of mediation is co-parenting disputes. It happens, it's a big part of divorce when there are parents getting divorced, but post-divorce or never married parents who just are having trouble making decisions together for their kids, aren't sharing information. And while some of those mediations lead to modifications to their agreement, very rare, more often than not, it's really just figuring out pathways to, communicate about what's going on with their kids, or work together to make some decisions so that their kids aren't, feeling caught in the middle. I just find that to be so impactful, because the kids' success or their ability to thrive in in two-parent households, dependent largely on the exposure to conflict and tension. And conflict can be external, it can be internal, it can be icy cold silence, it can be yelling and screaming. And if mediation can help parents create some bridges between the homes, even they don't have to like each other, but they're going to be grandparents together, and their kids can either have a life where they feel like they can only invite one of the two parents to their weddings, or they can, in the future, or they can figure out a way to, live peacefully or be in a business-like relationship, meaning that they're in the business of raising their kids, such that, their kids are going to thrive.
Exactly right. And I know that on your website, you've got lots of fantastic articles, lots of good resources. And I know that you're not really comfortable bragging about who you are and what you do, but I know that from the testimonials and the social proofing that I've done about your practice, one of the things that people really appreciate about your practice is that you actually help them learn to communicate on their own, so that when they are confronted with a challenging situation, like who is going to walk the daughter down the aisle at her wedding? Is it her biological father? Is it the new father? Is it the new wife? Is it what are we going to do? And that one of the things people most appreciate about your services is that they learn how to communicate. They learn how to negotiate. They learn how to help themselves work through what could otherwise be a really difficult situation. And you don't brag about that skill set that you pass on to people, but people really appreciate that about you.
Well, that's awfully nice of you to say. Well, I feel mediation is almost, from a co-parenting perspective, it's co-parenting with training wheels. You have the mediator there who can provide some guidance and structure while they're re-engineering their relationship away from a romantic one or one of high conflict to one that's centered with their kids. And when parents want some psychoeducation and some strategies or some highly structured ways of communicating, I'll offer it. As a good mediator, I would never impart it, right? Because I have self-determination, or a good facilitative mediator. But I am an instructor in Massachusetts. We only have one court-mandated high conflict parent education program, it's really intense. It's like co-parenting boot camp. And it's for parents who have been frequent flyers to the court with a big stack, who keep asking the judges to make decisions about parenting issues. And we have some great approaches for the parents who go through this group. So I have the good fortune of being able to borrow heavily from that program with my mediation clients, in part to do what you're saying, which is to help them create some structures that are sustainable, so that they can communicate in a way that feels safe and manageable, while they can keep creating new lives for themselves at the same time.
Well, I love that. I love your passion. I love your professionalism. I love that you put families first, relationships first, and that idea of creating and your word, re-engineering the future. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And your website, is that the best way for people to contact you and learn more about your services?
Yeah, so my website's just my name, benstich.com, BENSTICH. And if you misspell it and put in the second T, it'll redirect. Or email or phone. It's just ben@benstich.com. So yeah, whatever's easiest for folks who are watching this, I'll make it work.
Perfect. And of course, I will put that information in the description bar down below, so that if you're watching this video and you're in the greater Boston, Massachusetts area, or you know someone who needs services like Ben's services, click the link, read the articles, connect with him, ask the questions that need to be asked, and help move either yourself or someone you know and love to re-engineer their own future. Ben Stich, thank you so much for your time with me today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Natalie. You may have just helped me create a new tagline. Re-engineering. your family future or something like that.
I think actually you wrote that one. I just copied what you said earlier. Ben, thank you so much. I love the work that you do, and I know that your clients do as well. Listen, everybody, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, share with someone if they need these kinds of services. And as always, be good humans. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Natalie.